Actually, racing is fun and I like it.
Every weekend is a new opportunity. We'll give it our best shot.
Listen, guys, the track just got cleared for Ferrari in the most dramatic way possible. Mercedes got caught cheating the rulebook twice, Red Bull is nowhere, McLaren keeps breaking down, and Ferrari, they are sitting right there, loaded with upgrades, two world-class drivers, and a rule change that lands at Miami. Hold on, though, because having the opportunity and actually taking it are two completely different things. Today we are breaking down why 2026 might genuinely be Ferrari's year and why it is more complicated than it looks. The Mercedes crime scene. So let's start with what actually happened, because this is genuinely wild. Mercedes came into 2026 with an engine that was bending the rules in two separate ways, and eventually both got shut down. The first trick was about compression ratios. The regulations say your engine cannot exceed 16:1 measured when cold. Mercedes found a way to be perfectly legal on that cold test, but once the engine heats up, the compression ratio climbs higher, giving them more power. We are talking 0.4 of a second per lap advantage. In Formula One, 0.4 is the difference between pole position and row 3. Ferrari, Honda, and Audi went straight to the FIA, and the ruling came back that Mercedes must fix their engine by June 1st. Monaco onwards, that advantage is gone. But before that was even settled, Mercedes found a second trick. Their MGUK has an emergency shutdown mode built for safety. Mercedes figured out they could trigger it deliberately at the end of a qualifying lap to run at maximum power for longer. Ferrari raised the safety flag on this, and they were right, because Alex Albon's Williams literally stopped on track in Japan because of this exact trick. The FIA banned it immediately. The FIA and F1 meeting. Now here is where it gets really interesting, because just yesterday, April 20th, 2026, the FIA held an online meeting with all team principals, power unit manufacturers, and Formula One management. And they came out of that meeting with a package of rule changes that kick in from Miami. The MGUK deployment, which was the heart of Mercedes' performance advantage, is now capped at 250 kilowatts in non-acceleration zones, down from 350. The maximum energy recharge per lap dropped from 7 megajoules to 6. The boost mode in races got capped too. Every single one of these changes directly targets the area where Mercedes was strongest. Think about it this way. Mercedes built their entire 2026 advantage on being better than everyone else at managing and deploying electrical energy. The FIA just put a ceiling on exactly that. Ferrari did not just complain their way to a rulebook change, they strategically dismantled Mercedes' biggest weapon, piece by piece. Where everyone else stands. So now, let's look around the grid, because Ferrari's window is not just about Mercedes getting caught, it is about the whole picture coming together at once. Red Bull is genuinely struggling. Verstappen retired from the Chinese Grand Prix, got stuck behind midfield cars in China, and after 3 rounds, they have just 16 points in the constructors. The car simply does not work in this new energy management era. And Verstappen has been very vocal about how much he dislikes these regulations. McLaren is actually fast. Piastri got a podium in Japan, and they are clearly a threat. But their reliability has been a nightmare. Both Norris and Piastri did not even start the Chinese Grand Prix because of electrical issues on their Mercedes power unit. A team that cannot finish races cannot win championships. And Ferrari? After 3 rounds, they sit second in the constructors with 90 points, 45 behind Mercedes. That gap sounds big, but with upgrades coming to Miami and Mercedes' tricks now banned, that gap is about to get a lot more interesting. 2 kings, 1 throne. Here is the storyline inside Ferrari that nobody can look away from. You have Lewis Hamilton, 7 world championships, arguably the greatest driver of all time. 41 years old and on what could be his final shot at glory. And you have Charles Leclerc, 26 years old, arguably the most naturally talented driver on the grid right now, who has beaten both Vettel and Hamilton in equal machinery, but has never had a car good enough to win a championship. After Japan, Leclerc is third in the standings with 49 points, and Hamilton is fourth with 41. 8 points between teammates. That is razor thin. And the car itself is part of the problem. The SF26 is loose, aggressive, and oversteer heavy, which suits Leclerc's natural style perfectly. Hamilton needs a stable rear end to do what he does, and this car actively fights him. But here is the twist. Hamilton has been adapting faster than anyone expected. His drive in China was genuinely the old Hamilton, aggressive on the brakes, confident in wheel-to-wheel combat, and he actually got the better of Leclerc in their intra-team battle that day. So Ferrari has a real decision to make. Let them race freely and risk splitting points and gifting Mercedes the constructors? Or pick a number one and lose the loyalty of one of the most valuable drivers in the sport? One without winning. Let me give you the full picture of why this moment matters so much for Ferrari specifically. Their last Constructors' Championship was 2008. Their last driver's title was 2007. In between, they have had Alonso come close in 2010 and 2012, Vettel with a genuinely fast car in 2017 and 2018, and then in 2024, they lost the Constructors to McLaren by just 14 points. Last year, 2025, was honestly brutal. The SF25 was a nightmare to drive. Ferrari did not win a single race, and Hamilton could not even score a podium. Leclerc salvaged 7 podiums, and that was it. So when people say Ferrari has an opportunity right now, they are not just talking about Miami. They are talking about breaking nearly 2 decades of near misses and heartbreak. The bigger picture? So let's bring it all together. Mercedes got caught with 2 separate engine tricks and both got banned. The April 20th rule changes capped their biggest performance advantage. Red Bull cannot score points. McLaren cannot finish races. Ferrari has upgrades coming, and they have 2 of the best drivers in the world sitting in their garage. Personally, I think Leclerc takes this championship if Ferrari can close the gap to Mercedes within the next 3 races. He's in the form of his life. The car was made for his style, and this might genuinely be his last realistic shot before the window closes. But here's the question I want to leave you with. If Ferrari finally wins in 2026, is it Leclerc's triumph? Or is it Hamilton's experience that quietly carries the team over the line? Drop your answer in the comments, because honestly, this one could go either way. See you in the next one.